All the way up until the Industrial Revolution, water was always used for mechanical power. But around the time of the Industrial Revolution, we start to see a connection between modern forms of energy and water. If you have flowing water, you could spin a turbine, which can spin magnets, which can give you electricity. Devices were made that could generate electricity and use that electricity. And as a consequence, the demand for electricity was growing.
There are very strong connections between energy and water. The one people think about the most is the water that we use to produce the energy that we need, the hydroelectric dams that we build, like Hoover or like the grand dams on the Columbia River.
On the Columbia River, a vast new industry is rising, a symbol of the place of power in a new age, taking minerals from the earth and power from the water.
In the 1930s, the United States started a large build-out of hydroelectric power. There were a couple of reasons for this. One is the Great Depression was afoot, a lot of unemployment, and there was a need for jobs and infrastructure investment as a way to get the economy going again. At the same time, there were all these killer floods that were wiping out farms and killing a lot of people. So there was a desire to build dams that would give us reservoirs of water that we could use in times of drought to irrigate our crops, that would control the floods, that make it easier to navigate the waterways, to use barges to move goods around, to enable electrical power, and as a way to stimulate the economy through jobs creation. And so that's what we did.
The Rural Electrification Acts in the 30s and the 40s brought power, hydroelectric power primarily, to the South and to the Pacific Northwest.
To the women of Cascade Locks, their Columbia River took on new meaning. It became part of their daily lives.
At home, women started to have electric appliances that popped up, appliances that could do some of the manual labor for them. And that changed our relationship between men and women in the workforce, because some of the chores that women would do by hand can now be done by electric appliances. And you start to see the birth of the women's rights movement and the desire to move into the workplace happen at the same time that appliances were coming into the homes.
In World War II, those big hydroelectric dams powered the aluminum industry in the United States that provided critical material for the U.S. war effort.
Making the wings for America. The aluminum for 1 out of every 3 of our fighting planes. Building the fortresses to keep the war from our shores.
So the energy-water connection from hydroelectricity alone is a critical part of American history.
In Texas, where we don't have a lot of water, we also built dams. And a part of that was the rural electrification effort, the effort to bring electricity to rural areas. This used to be the world's largest dam, right?
At one time it was,
yeah. It was the world's largest dam. It wasn't this one because that one fell. So that dam down there was the world's largest dam. When was it destroyed the first time?
1895, I believe, was the first time it was destroyed. There was a massive flood at that time, and this being the only dam on the Colorado, it took the full brunt of everything that came down the river.
Now this third one, is this one going to fall, or is this one more solid?
This one's had many improvements to it. We did a big anchoring project on the spillway, a lot of structural reinforcement. Yeah.
Plus, there are other dams on the river now, right?
Yes.
With each dam, it helps stop the flood, right? So if you have a wave of water, slows it down, less likely to knock one dam down.
Right.
The building of dams for politicians was something that they could celebrate. They could say, look, we brought the dam, we're helping reduce the incidence of floods or the damage of floods, we're bringing you electrical power, we're managing nature, we're taming the waterways. So politicians loved to build the dams, and they were celebrated for it. It was a way for them to maintain power and serve their people. There's a proverb in the American West, which is whiskey's for drinking and water's for fighting over. Because who gets access to the water has access to wealth and power.